More people are getting involved in ocean cleanup. Governor Jerry Brown proposes a multi-million-dollar cleanup of lead poisoning in Vernon.
We're going to make America great again.
This is your campaign.
And candidates prepare for the biggest primary of voting season.
This is Valley View News.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Lisa Cho.
And I'm Carlos Gonzalez. Super Tuesday is just 2 days away. Officials say Super Tuesday is critical because more delegates are up for grabs than any day in the election cycle. 12 states are holding primaries, with the majority occurring in the southern states. Hillary Clinton is favored to win most of the Democratic vote due to her support for minority voters. Analysts say Donald Trump could be in for a tight race with Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio for Republican votes, now that Jeb Bush has dropped out of the race.
Trump padded his lead by winning the Nevada Republican caucus last Tuesday.
Of course, if you listen to the pundits, we weren't expected to win too much, and now we're winning the country. And soon the country is going to start winning.
Donald Trump easily won the GOP South Carolina primary last weekend. The next day, he was campaigning for the Super Tuesday votes.
We had such an amazing victory yesterday. Incredible. Or I'll tell you what, we're just going one after another. Are we going to win Georgia? Yeah.
Senator Marco Rubio narrowly finished ahead of Senator Ted Cruz for second place in South Carolina.
Jeb Bush officially quit the presidential race last week. Bush announced he was suspending his campaign 2 hours after polls closed in South Carolina last Saturday. Bush finished a distant fourth in the primary.
Hillary Clinton defeated Bernie Sanders last weekend in the Nevada Democratic caucus. Analysts say minority voters helped carry Clinton to victory. In her speech, Clinton says she wants to give Americans equal opportunities when she's president.
This is your campaign, and it is a campaign to break down every barrier that holds you back. We're going to build ladders of opportunity in their place so every American can go as far as your hard work can take you.
Clinton won predominantly among older voters, while Sanders won the younger vote.
A New York Times national poll says young Americans are voting for presidential candidates in large numbers this year. People ages 18 to 29 are contributing a third of the voter turnout. That is the same portion of the electorate as the baby boomer generation. The youth vote's biggest beneficiary by far has been Bernie Sanders. He attracted more than 80% of the young vote in both the Iowa and New Hampshire caucuses.
The New York Times findings are mirrored here on campus. 55% of students surveyed by Valley View who say they are voting favor Bernie Sanders.
When I look at a candidate, I want to know that the person I'm voting for isn't just saying what he's saying to get votes.
Just the way he speaks about education and how he wants to make it free.
I strongly believe in his free healthcare plan. I think it'd be much better than Obamacare, and also his student plan.
This student explained why she favors Hillary Clinton.
It would be really incredible to see a female president, and so that's where I'm a little biased in a sense.
And some students are undecided.
I've generally been pretty Democratic. I'm kind of moderate, but I didn't like the Bush administration and Donald Trump. I don't approve of his stuff, so I go the other way.
45% of the students in our unscientific study say they are not going to vote in the presidential election.
Analysts say the Latino vote could be the key to the Democratic nomination. Hillary Clinton has overwhelming support in the African American community, and analysts said she was favored among Hispanic voters. But an exit poll concluded that Bernie Sanders defeated Hillary Clinton by 8 percentage points in the Nevada caucuses. Clinton's supporters challenged the poll, pointing out she defeated Sanders in heavily Hispanic Clark County.
Oil markets jumped nearly 8% last week due to falling U.S. shale output. A rally in equities fed the idea that crude prices may be bottoming after their near 20-month collapse. Prices got a further boost after the International Energy Agency said U.S. shale oil production could fall by 600,000 barrels per day this year.
Governor Jerry Brown has proposed a multi-million-dollar cleanup plan for the areas contaminated by Vernon Exide's battery recycling plant. Reporter Desiree Lopez has more on the story.
Activists and city officials spoke at a news conference about the governor's proposal.
The $176 million in cleanup funds is expected to ensure that homes, schools, daycare centers, parks within a 1.7-mile radius of the Exide battery recycling plant be tested.
We won't stop fighting until the last house is cleaned.
The county has already put in $2 million to begin with cleanup and assessment as well to help jumpstart. But we expect to get that money back to go after the responsible parties, like Exide and other businesses that were also careless in the way that they handled these hazardous materials.
You know, environmental justice is not just about polar bears or little penguins or little cute animals. It has so much to do about people.
The plant in Vernon shut down about a year ago. It was part of the community for more than 30 years. Nearby residents discussed their feelings. If it's in the environment and it's contaminated, however it is, the children are the ones who will feel something.
I think Governor Brown did a good thing to lend money to the city so they can clean up the lead, because that affects the future generations.
California regulators have estimated about 10,000 homes surrounding the Vernon area to be contaminated with this poisonous lead. We reached out to Exide for a comment, but are yet to receive a response. In Huntington Park, Desiree Lopez, Valley View News.
Now let's go to Anna Logan with the latest in health.
More Americans are overdosing on anxiety drugs, and it is unclear why. More than 5% of adults in the U.S. fill a prescription for benzodiazepine every year for conditions such as anxiety, mood disorders, and insomnia. Researchers at Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York say the death rate from overdoses has quadrupled since 1996. They found a similarly large increase in the number of pills each adult was prescribed. A new study says coffee may protect the liver from alcohol. The study says drinking coffee may reduce the risk of developing cirrhosis of the liver. Researchers say that 1 cup of coffee a day reduces the risk of cirrhosis by more than 20%. The study says coffee is a complex mixture of chemical compounds, and it is unknown which of these is responsible for protecting the liver. Federal researchers say that more than a third of Americans are not getting enough sleep, putting themselves at risk for a wide range of diseases. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says only 65% of those surveyed said they get more than 7 hours of sleep per night. The CDC says that less than 7 hours per night is associated with an increased risk for heart disease, obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and frequent mental distress. The CDC recommends lifestyle changes such as going to bed at the same time each night and rising at the same time each morning. The report also urges employers to adjust their work schedule so their workers get enough sleep. Ohio Governor John Kasich has signed a bill blocking government funds to Planned Parenthood. The law prevents more than $1 million in funding from the state health department from going towards HIV testing, health screenings, prevention of violence against women. The legislation does not specifically mention the organization, but targets an entity that performs or promotes non-therapeutic abortions. The latest study of HPV, which causes cervical cancer, shows the prevalence of the virus going down despite immunization rates remaining low. Only 40% of girls and 20% of boys between ages 13 and 17 have received the immunization over the past 6 years. Experts say one reason for the low vaccination rates is HPV's association with underage sex, making some parents avoid the vaccination altogether. The vaccine is still optional and requires multiple doctor's visits to complete the 3-dose regimen. That's all for health news. Back to you.
Coming up next, a teen doctor was practicing without a medical license.
And we have highlights from the Daytona 500. Hiking trails leading to Echo Mountain are closed due to possible human remains found in the area. Authorities received a call after 8 last Sunday reporting the discovery. Police confirmed that bones were found but could not say if they were human bones. One deputy said the bones appeared to be from a human leg. An investigation is underway.
Pop singer Kesha lost her sexual assault battle against her record producer, Dr. Luke. Kesha accused him of drugging and raping her. Dr. Luke claims Kesha is lying in an effort to break her contract. Pop sensation Taylor Swift supported Kesha by donating $250,000 to help her with any of her financial needs during the trial. Kesha's lawyer says her career is being put on hold because she refuses to work with her accused rapist. The judge ruled there was not enough evidence to convict Dr. Luke of the charges.
Hundreds of people came together in Compton for an anti-violence march last Sunday. The Save Our Children march honored 1-year-old Autumn Johnson. She was fatally shot while sleeping in her crib during a gang-related drive-by. The march was organized by the Compton Gang Prevention and Intervention Program. There's a $25,000 reward for any information that will help catch the shooter.
A Florida teen has been arrested for impersonating a doctor and practicing medicine without a license. 18-year-old Malachi Love Robinson invested $10,000 and opened up a clinic. Police say he posed as a medical doctor and treated patients. His clinic in West Palm Beach was called New Birth, New Life Medical Center. Robinson told ABC's Good Morning America that he did not portray himself as an MD. He says he utilized physiological, psychological, and mechanical methods such as air, water, light, heat, and earth to treat his patients. Florida says that it does not issue licenses for that type of treatment.
Now let's go to Erica Sims with the latest news in sports.
Thank you. The CSUN Athletics Department has partnered with Under Armour. The company will become the exclusive outfitter and supplier for Matador athletic teams and will provide game day footwear, apparel, and equipment. The partnership will begin in July. CSUN becomes the first public university on the West Coast to partner with Under Armour. The CSUN men's basketball team continues to fight for a winning record despite being banned from the conference playoffs. In January, the team announced a self-imposed ban after acknowledging academic violations by several players. Guard Kendall Smith says postseason plans may have changed, but the winning mentality of the players has not.
We just have to understand that we have to play for the name on the front of our jerseys now. Obviously, we're unable to play in the postseason, but we still have to go out every night and compete at a high level. We still have to give it our all because, we're actually held to an obligation, and that's to compete and play hard. And also for our pride, just for ourselves to know that we're a good team.
As of last Thursday, the Matadors are 5-8 in conference play and 10-17 overall. The team will host UC Davis on March 5th in its final game of the conference season. CSUN women's softball team is looking to defend its title as Big West Conference champions. The team has won 6 out of 10 games on the road and has yet to play at home. Infielder Maylin Mitchell says the team doesn't need to do anything special to stay on a winning track.
I think we just need to play our game. I mean, there's no pressure. Or we shouldn't think of it as pressure, really. We didn't really lose anyone as far as our offense goes, and I think we can definitely go back to back if we just stay confident and just trust in the process.
The Lady Matadors have 1 month to prepare for conference play. CSUN will host its first conference game against Long Beach State on April 2nd. Denny Hamlin won his first Daytona 500 and one of the greatest finishes of all time. In the last lap, Hamlin's teammate Matt Kenseth led, but Hamlin quickly moved up after Kevin Harvick sped up, forcing Hamlin to move forward. Kenseth tried to block Hamlin, but Hamlin maneuvered his way around, causing Kenseth to swerve, brush the wall, and lose his first place standing. Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. then battled it out, and Hamlin beat Truex by 100th of a second. Hamlin's win was the closest in Daytona 500 history. New Orleans center Anthony Davis had a monster game against Detroit last weekend. Davis finished with 59 points and 20 rebounds. The last similar numbers were posted was in 2001 by Sacramento Kings player Chris Webber. Davis broke the New Orleans franchise scoring record that was held by Jamal Mashburn in 2003 with 50 points. He is also the youngest player in NBA history to score at least 59 points, beating Jerry West by almost a year. The Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Chicago Bulls in Chicago last weekend, 115-126. Former teammate Pau Gasol introduced Kobe Bryant for the last time at the United Center. Bryant scored 22 points, Gasol had 21, and Derrick Rose finished with 24. Lakers coach Byron Scott says Julius Randle and Ricky D'Angelo Russell will start for the rest of the season. Bryant has 25 more games to play and 16 are at Staples Center. For the second time in 3 years, Bubba Watson has won the Northern Trust Open. After his victory, Watson announced he had passed a kidney stone in the week leading up to the Trust. Watson shot a 68 in the final round to win the 9th PGA Tour title. The victory at the Riviera Country Club in Los Angeles made Watson the world's 4th-ranked golfer. That's all for sports. Back to you.
An Uber driver admitted to killing 6 people last Saturday in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and has been charged with murder. Authorities are searching for motives that led to the shooter's rampage. Jason Brian Dalton opened fire at an apartment complex, a car dealership, and a restaurant. The shooter also wounded 2 others, including a 14-year-old girl.
A Connecticut judge is deciding whether the Remington Outdoor Company should stand trial for manufacturing the weapon used in the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre. Families of 10 victims filed the wrongful death lawsuit and want the manufacturer to be accountable for selling military-style weapons to non-military personnel. The company has declined to comment, but cited a 2005 federal law that protects gun manufacturers and dealers from any liabilities after a shooting.
Coming up, the FBI wants access to an iPhone from one of the San Bernardino shooters.
And a record-breaking cyclone hits Fiji. A small plane crashed outside Whiteman Airport in Pacoima last Monday. No one was injured. The plane struck parked cars. The side wing was torn off the plane. The fire department says the pilot did a good job landing on an open road. Cause of the crash is under investigation.
The next generation of mobile internet is quickly approaching. The mobile industry is pushing forward with 5G networks and will begin radio test Bedfield trials later this year. Ericsson president and CEO says the technological portfolio is constantly evolving to keep up with customers' demand. The 5G network is expected to launch in 2020.
The battle between Apple and the FBI continues. Apple chief Tim Cook released a statement Monday refusing access to the FBI to unlock the iPhone of the San Bernardino terrorist. The FBI has been investigating all leads in the case and says the iPhone may contain information about the attacks. Apple has ordered to create special software that would allow the FBI to unlock the iPhone, but Apple has refused the court order. Apple believes that granting government access to customer data will open a backdoor to government overreach.
Donald Trump called for a boycott against Apple last week. He says people should stop supporting the company until the technology giant helps the FBI break into the iPhone of one of the San Bernardino shooters. A senior Apple executive said the company would continue to fight on behalf of its customers.
It's Oscar night, and along with it comes road closures and traffic jams. Hollywood Boulevard has been closed between Highland Avenue and Orange Drive all week and will remain closed until 6 a.m. Tuesday, March 1st. Some access is being allowed for residents, pedestrians, and emergency vehicles. Detailed maps of affected areas are available from the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce and on the Academy's website.
Now let's go over to Alexis Liggins with the latest entertainment news.
Thank you, Carlos. Well, it's that time again. The Oscars are here. In just a few hours, golden trophies will be handed out to the winners of the 88th Annual Academy Awards. Chris Rock will be tonight's host, and the show, which faced a lot of backlash and boycott. This is the second straight year Oscar voters have failed to nominate a minority in any of the major categories. Analysts say The Revenant, Spotlight, and The Big Short are the top runners for Best Picture. Latinos in Hollywood are among the least represented speaking roles for film and television, even though they make up 17.4% of the U.S. population. A study by USC Annenberg School for the Communication and Journalism Research showed that Latinos play stereotypes. Women are portrayed as over-sexualized and men are portrayed as dominant or macho. The National Hispanics Foundation for the Arts say that the broader the targeted audience, the more Latinos play stereotypical roles. The smaller the targeted audience, it says, the more they play leading roles. The movie The Race, about Olympic champion Jesse Owens, hit theaters last weekend. Owens' three daughters worked closely with the film's director to make sure the movie was accurate from a historical perspective. Owens won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Owens' daughters say that they are happy that their input was instrumental in shaping the narrative. Race is the first feature film focused on the track and field icon. And keeping with The Race, they came in the 6th at the box office, earning $7.3 million last weekend. Risen took the 3rd spot, earning $11.8 million. Kung Fu Panda 3 came in 2nd, earning $12.5 million. And The Deadpool continues to dominate the box office for the 2nd straight week, earning $55 million. Deadpool is expected to be one of the most successful R-rated movies. Funeral services were held in Monroeville, Alabama for Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist Harper Lee. She died last Friday at the age of 89. Lee wrote the iconic novel To Kill a Mockingbird. Services were held at First United Methodist Church in Monroeville. Before she died, Lee requested she be remembered in a private funeral with no media attention and only attended by close loved ones. Lee was buried at the family burial site. To Kill a Mockingbird was published more than 50 years ago. Last year, a second novel, Go Set a Watchman, was published. The novel was drafted before To Kill a Mockingbird. That's all I have for entertainment. Back to you all with more news.
Thank you, Alexis. The United States and Russia have agreed to ceasefire in Syria. The ceasefire is scheduled to begin this weekend. It involves the Syrian government and most opposition groups. but officials say it does not cover the Islamic State, the Nusra Front, or any other terrorist organizations. Officials say Russia is expected to continue its air campaign. Russia says it is targeting terrorists, but the U.S. says the Russians are hitting moderate opposition groups and civilians.
The United States has announced it will aid South Korea in military drills scheduled for March. The drills will be held on the Korean Peninsula as a warning to North Korea after their threats to use nuclear weapons. 15,000 U.S. troops will assist in the field training exercises.
Across Europe, gay, lesbian, and transgender Syrian and Iraqi refugees say they were being verbally and physically attacked in shelters. Some say they have been forcefully kicked out of shelters. Most of the abuse has been from other refugees. Germany's Lesbian and Gay Federation has counted 106 acts of violence against gay and transgender refugees from August to January.
A tropical cyclone in Fiji has killed 20 people. Cyclone Winston hit Fiji last Saturday night. It is the most powerful storm ever recorded in the southern hemisphere. The winds reached 184 miles per hour. More than 8,000 people are in shelters. Schools have been closed and are being used as shelters for those who have been left homeless.
The weather is expected to cool down to the mid-70s as the week goes on. Right now, Los Angeles and the San Fernando Valley are experiencing a warm weekend with highs in the 80s and lows in the 50s.
Keeping our oceans clean is important to our environment, but not many people understand the severity of the problem. The ocean produces half of the oxygen in the air we breathe, and it is essential for providing the water we drink. Valley View News reporter Delmy Moran has more on the dangers of ocean pollution.
Our California coastlines have always been enjoyed by generations past. It wasn't too long ago when our beaches were clean and full of life, but today our beaches are starting to look less like a vacation getaway and more like a dump. Volunteers from Heal the Bay are helping to maintain a clean environment and educate themselves on the importance of having a sustainable ocean.
Well, we learned today that microplastics are actually becoming a very big problem. So plastics will get smaller and smaller and be washed out into the ocean. And even the things that you eat, like salt or even some fish that you might buy, could have traces of microplastic in it.
Dockweiler Beach was closed down last summer due to medical waste washed ashore. Dockweiler officials collected about 200 pounds of debris, which included tampons and hypodermic needles.
Cigarette butts, plastic, and bottle caps are amongst the most common pieces of trash found in California beaches. Plastic bottles just like this one are one of the most dangerous because it never fully deteriorates. It dissolves into smaller pieces, becoming a threat to marine life who mistake it for food.
Volunteer manager at the Santa Monica Aquarium, Mikey Kesterson, explains how this pollution affects us as humans.
If humans digest fish that eat a lot of plastic that ends up in the ocean, it accumulates for a long time. It can cause birth defects and a lot of different diseases that would end up hospitalizing you. The storm water, after it rains, will actually wash it out into the ocean. So they say about after it rains, you shouldn't go in there for about a week because you can get sick, and you should always stay at least a football field length away from all the storm drains.
Storms like El Nino are predicted to bring heavy amounts of trash. Heal the Bay's beach programs manager, Elise Arenas, explains how leaving trash on the streets creates urban runoff.
But oftentimes a lot of trash, so everything you can see and everything you can't see. So this includes chip bags, styrofoam, anything physically that gets stuck in these, but also fertilizers, pesticides, bacteria, all that good stuff, not so good stuff, gets washed down. If we follow this underground, the catch basin will go down and meet with underground pipes and channels. It'll meet with rivers and streams, and then it will flush out into the ocean, and the trash gets flushed with it. So.
Volunteering for any type of organization can help keep our planet healthy. Organizations like Heal the Bay and Tree Musketeers come out to collect trash and restore our environment. Kids and adults are welcome to join this movement. In Venice Beach for Valley View News, I'm Delmy Moran.
Thank you for watching Valley View News. I'm Lisa Cho.
And I'm Carlos Gonzalez.